And there we go. And they're off, and it's a clean start. And away has gone Birkin Kilic, followed by the white buggy of Davide Ongaro. Canas, I think, has dropped to fourth. It's got his colours a bit, I think it's still third. Let's see whether Barufalo got through or not. I think maybe Barufalo and Canas, but didn't go over. Just getting the colourway in my eye. Yeah, it was Barufalo's got past Canas. Canas dropped down to fourth, so it's the pink WIRC of Barufalo in third. And as the top cars try and make a little bit of a break, but we are just in the first lap of an hour, and nothing that happens now is going to win you the race, though you could do something that would lose you the race, much as JQ did on lap 2 of the over 35 race.
Absolutely, and Birkin Kilic in that orange and white with the Turkish flag on his end plates of his wing, and right behind him in the all-white one-can paint job is the current world champion and back-to-back and four-wheel drive champion Davide Ongaro, and there we see the beautiful pink and black machine.
It's two-wheel drive.
Four-wheel drive. No,
he won two-wheel drive in the world, not four-wheel drive. He won two.
No, he didn't. He won four-wheel drive.
Did he? Okay, whatever. Oh no, you're right. It was the first one. You're right. It was four. I can take this completely back, and we're going to start this commentary all over again. It was the four-wheel drive because they changed it round, didn't they? Which one they're going to do first and second? So it was the four-wheel drive. Yeah. Anyway, keep going.
Exactly.
And it is now Birkin Kilic, who's been chased by a man who won one of the World Championships, Davide Ongaro. And they go up and over.
These guys are getting a little breakaway.
And they go up and over the waterboard section for the first time, come back and turn into the right-hand turn and go through the little door section of the gate. Then you've got a left-hand turn past the pit straight. That's the big double. Heavy brake before the sharp hairpin left. Then you can put a bit of a flow down. At 90 degrees quite quick. Then you go into the internal S. As you see Barufalo begins to just ease back up onto the edge, the rear wing of Ongaro. Then you go back into the switchback. So it's a lot, as you can see, a maximum use of the available clay surface is being used for this track. And then you power the cars back up the hill to the hairpin, down the kind of flat double, and then again round, and it's all about acceleration and power as you glide over the waterbed section. The idea it's waterbed is because once you get the ripples going, you just keep running with it and you use them to power the car forward, brake hard, and that's effectively the lap around the track here at Buggyland in Madrid.
That's right. We have Kilic, Ongaro, Barufalo, Canas, Berton, Robert Battier in 6th, and Ivan in behind him. But right now we see Marco all on the rear end of Davide, which is allowing Birkin just to pull out just slightly, but right behind them is JCC. And pretty Ricky Berton, not too far back, is easing into the view of the camera.
Oh, a mistake by Barufalo. We got away with it though. So Barufalo got away with a mistake, and in fact he almost gained then. So Canas now suddenly was more challenging for second than being challenged for fourth. Ongaro also had a bit of kind of a slight error, slight confusion, but the net effect of this is that Canas now finds himself back into third for the first time since he left the start grid. Ongaro second, and your leader is Birkin Kilic, the young German. Has a 1.5 second lead, but we are only, and it's very clear, 3 minutes into this final.
Yeah, I don't know how Marco Barufalo saved that, but he actually ran off the track, crashed, did a couple of barrel rolls, and ended up in third spot. Let's have a look.
So he was wrong all the way at that point. He's upside down wrong. He's done 4 rolls, gets the thing back on the round, and just loses half position, virtually no time at all.
That was impressive. Well done, Marco. Well done.
And there is your second, third, and fourth. Actually, they've gained up on Birkin this time. So 1, 2, 3, and 4 running across the top. Fifth now is Ricky Burton. Sixth is Robert Battle. They're not really being dropped. Gap back to people like Ivan, now back to about 7 seconds. Boots is now in 6th. He's taken a battle in that one. So he's trying to move forward from a lower qualifying position we wanted. But now top 3 back together again. They are the top 3 qualifiers. They've sort of dropped Barufalo now. And it is Kilic from Ongaro with Canas immediately behind them. And these 3 representing 3 different countries and representing 3 different chassis manufacturers. It's Mugen Secchi leading for Germany. It's Associated in Italy in second, and it's S-Works in Spain in third. Or if you know them better, Birkin Kilic, Davide Ongaro, and one Carlos Canas. You've got your reigning world champion in this picture, and you've got your reigning European champion in this picture. And you've got a man, I think, who's a reigning German champion. Birkin won the German championship, so all of them have won quite a lot quite recently.
and all pillow bowl cars as well. And right behind them is another pillow bowl car. And I guess we would say that the Infinity is a pillow bowl car as well, somewhat, sort of.
Who knows? No one knows.
But it seems like Burkhan is able to just pull a little bit away on this back section right here, and Ongaro and Canas are able to just close up. But it seems also that Burkhan is a little bit faster through the infield. He's able to whip that car a little bit more and get it in position how he wants it. As we see them go through here, you'll see him doing a lot of whips to just get that car perfectly in line. Can Burkhan kill it? Hold on. 54 minutes, 28 seconds left to go in this 1 hour main.
And as they climb up the hill, the three of them together, you see the gap now to fourth and fifth, which is Ricky Burton. There's sixth, which is Boots. And a long way back to Burak Kilic now, who's picked up 7th place.
Oh, wow. Pecco, who was 1 scored in 6, is now all the way down to 14, so he's had a rough few laps.
It's very easy. It's very easy to lose position. Very hard to gain them in this sort of company. But we've got a cracking first few minutes. Now we are now 6 minutes down. So we start also keeping a little bit of an eye on when these first stops are going to be made. When we got to the Euros, which is only a couple of weeks ago, Canas had excellent fuel mileage. Ongaro had good fuel mileage. And the Kilic is not so good fuel mileage. So let's see. Oh, and Canas there looking to get perhaps a run up the inside of Ongaro. Didn't happen. Now, we do know that Ongaro, we believe, has historically, and by that I mean for the last 12 months, had a weak link in the package, and that's the fact that he's effectively the development driver for the new Matrix Tyres brand. The new, obviously, is a brand within 1/8, not obviously within other forms of RC racing. And there's a lot of development going on. He's kind of thought that's one of the reasons why they were slightly off the pace in the Euros. Himself and David Ronnefeldt are both Matrix drivers. But there's a constant development by the company, and they're now getting themselves a chance to run an hour-long final in pretty typical European hard-baked clay conditions. Oh, a mistake by Burkhan, and then there's a first change of the lead as Burkhan makes a mistake, and he's going to make a double mistake. He's going to go 30, he's just fighting up with Canas. It's a Kilic versus Canas situation, and Kilic has got the better, robust but fair, and Kilic picks up second after that small mistake that's let Ongaro through. So Ongaro is through.
Long. Yeah, and Marco has closed up on the rear end of Canas.
And in for fuel. Well, that's really interesting. The first two have come in for fuel. So we've got fuel for Ongaro. We've got fuel for Kilic. Was it Ongaro came for fuel? No, it wasn't. Sorry, it was fuel for Kilic, and it was fuel for Barufalo. Ongaro didn't come for fuel. So Kilic again is running short. Kilic run perfectly near enough 7.5 minutes. So the Kilic engine again a bit thirstier. Don't forget, the magic figure is 8:20, and that'll that'll save you a stop. And basically, they go in the next lap. It's sort of 8:20. Let's pick up our leader to see when Ongaro goes in. It was a good stop, by the way, for Kilic and also Barufalo. But they are now looking like they may have to make one more stop. The thing to remember is, and in will come both the drivers. So they're looking to try and save one stop. Up, down. Slightly slow stop. I thought that one. Putting a full tank in. Where's he going to come out in relation to Kilic? There's Kilic right behind. So Ongaro leads. Kilic is second. There's Canas. They're all out together. They've all taken their first set of fuel. Big slug of nitromethane, 16%'s gone into the cars. And I'd say there's absolutely no difference when they came in, apart from the fact, and the key fact, that Burkhan came in a lap earlier, as did Marco Barufalo, who has gained in this process and now a bit closer in fourth. But will the fact that he came in a lap earlier mean he has to make an extra stop? We won't know immediately, because one of the things these guys will have done is seen what amount of fuel they had left in their tank. You are always going to be conservative the first time, if you don't know what's going to be happening, and then if you've got a bit longer, you can stretch it from the point you're in. But they have now all made their first stop, and we are Ongaro, we are Kilic, and we are Canas, and we are also not even 10 minutes in. It's 9 minutes gone.
Yes, and the stop 4 is still in the same position. Burkhan showing a little bit of pace out there. He has the fast lap of 41.8 so far, but the fastest lap has actually come from Elliot Butlan in 5th. But Burkhan looking to get by clean. He had a little coming together with Canas earlier. I think they're going to be wary of each other. I'm sure they got told to be very careful in the drivers' meeting and be fair. So, but Ongaro looking very smooth now, looking Ongaro-esque as we are used to seeing. But it's still early times with 50 minutes and 30 seconds left to go in this race.
So Ongaro already has won the e-buggy with 2 seconds and a first. Everyone else had at least one complete throwaway. He had 3 good results. He said it gave him a lot of confidence going in there. It's interesting that Kilic there did seem to gain through this twisty section, the S followed by the switchback. You have a 4 very, very sharp rotating corners for this big flat section. And the 4 cars now are getting closer and closer because the Barufalo definitely is moving up. Now, you would begin to think that possibly, and this is not something you'd normally say, is Ongaro the cork in the bottle for these cars? And are they now running to a pace that Ongaro is setting? Because unless you can't make, we know everyone, there's 2 referees, everyone is eagle-eyed on this because of the kind of the, let's put it nicely, the bad blood that seems to be flowing around the rostrum at the moment. Everyone's watching everything, so if you're going to go past, you've got to go past clean. And perhaps if Ongaro, who's doing a 42.3 that time round, perhaps he is setting the pace. Oh, now Canas looks up the inside of Birkin, doesn't happen, but Barufalo is able, who was being dropped towards the back end of the first stint before the field, is now able to live with them. And I think also coming is Elliott Boots, so he may get a 5-way quite soon, but at the moment it's now a little bit of a problem for Birkin. He's dropped back and now we've got 2nd, 3rd and 4th together. There's a bit of breathing space for Ongaro as we get this natural ebb and flow during laps here and laps off, because the mistakes they're making are mistakes we can't even see, to be honest, Lefty. They're 0.2, 0.3, things that don't look anything, but they are, because they're so close together, we get a visual image of how they're ebbing and flowing.
Exactly. Maybe we're seeing Ongaro going into tire conservation mode as well. He does have a long race to go, and he wants to have some tires left, even though we think he's probably one of the best drivers there in the world when it comes to worn out tires. While these guys are all battling in the back, he's just out there cruising. So he wants Birkin, Canas and Barufalo to just battle with each other so he can just run his pace out front.
And so far they are indulging him. I'm interested to see the gap. Just so you know, the gap from Boots. Boots is only 1.8 seconds behind these 4, or 4th of these 4, which is Barufalo. And I think he is beginning to move forward. So Boots has been in a fine run of form recently. 2nd in the Truggy, which was won by Barufalo earlier. And obviously was 2nd in the Euros to his teammate. And when S-Works and Reds had an absolutely dynamite combination down at Redovan. That time round he stayed exactly the same distance apart. All the top 5 ran their fastest laps of the race in that last lap. 41.3, 41.6, 41.6, 41.3, 41.3. So there was a general squish up as the 6s were Canas and Barufalo. Sorry, Canas and Kilic. But now Canas, Canas knew he had to get past. Absolutely. And now there's a spin away. And that's Kilic rolled out. And I think now Canas was realising he was being really stymied by the German, and he had to get underneath him. And he comes in, brakes and turns, gets underneath him. And I wasn't quite what happened, and then Kilic does it all by himself. So no one can have any upset about that. That was just a coming off the track. Now I expect that Canas is going to absolutely unleash himself in an attempt to get onto the back of Ongaro, and we're going to really go back to what has been the European battle, I think, of the last couple of years, with Ronafat being there as well. But I think more often than not we've been talking about Ongaro versus Canas rather than Ronafat as well, wouldn't you say?
Oh, absolutely. If we go back to IBC, where Ongaro and Canas had an epic battle to the final lap. So not only has Canas shown that he can beat Ongaro straight up, he's also been able to catch him up and beat him on the track. And he set his sights on Ongaro, and he's setting a much faster pace. And he's on those hot race tires, which have been the cream of the creme this weekend, and they were the creme of the creme at the Euros as well. So there we see Canas catching up to Ongaro extremely fast, and dropping Barufalo, and the rest of the guys are way back now. Barufalo has fallen right back as well.
Yeah, fastest lap of the race last time round for Canas, 40.9. That rates to 41.5 for Ongaro. So Ongaro knows that the underlying race pace that Canas has, he just turned on the afterburners there after getting past Kilic, and obviously dropping Kilic because Kilic had that error, was what really mattered. And he now has the pace, but once again he's now having to be careful with Ongaro and wait for Ongaro to make a mistake. And Ongaro obviously is unlikely to make one under pressure. He's been under more pressure than any other driver. As I say, I think Ongaro is playing a pace game. I think he knows he's got to run to a certain pace. I'm not sure whether it's anything to do with tyres, but he's probably more concerned about running an hour-long race on the tyres, the Matrix tyres, the new tyres, and Canas, who looks to try and get past in the same place as he got past Birkin Kilic a couple of laps ago. And now the speed for Canas is going to drop because he has to pace himself up against Ongaro. And they're going to start lapping quite soon. I think unfortunately the person who lapped first is Pecco Ivanen, who's dropped to the back of the field. Pecco will be absolutely fine and fair and let them through. Gap to Barufalo, 2.1, and then another 2.5 back to Boots. So the top 4 have really spread out now, and Birkin Kilic is down in 5th.
Yeah, we saw Ongaro pull out to a slight lead just now over Canas coming through the mid section of the track. And let's see if Canas can get. This is where we're seeing Canas make up some pace on him, make up some time. He's able to come down off this double and just send it right down into that 180. As we see Marco getting it wrong right behind them as they have lap traffic. As Pecco's coming in for fuel. And these guys came in for fuel at the same time. So I expect them to come in similar times. Here you can see Canas is now on it now. Ongaro was able to pace him just now on the lap previous to this, but Canas not letting him get that time, that gap that he had previously.
Yeah, so they're now 15 minutes. That was Pecco coming in at 7.5 minutes. I would think it should be, if they're on their pace, at least 2 laps, this lap and one more before they come in again, because they want to get to 16 minutes and 40 seconds minimum. Interestingly, after having Canas right up his backside, Ongaro kind of put on a little bit of a spurt, gapped him again, and now Ongaro, no, they're both coming in. Oh, okay, they're coming in a bit earlier. This is interesting because this is only at 16 minutes. I'm kind of wondering, much better stop, I think, for Ongaro. He's getting a bit of taste. That to me is potential splash and dash at the end required.
Potentially, and they come out in clean traffic actually. So Barufalo's still far behind them, and Boots as well as Marcan. Ivan and Nut, he's a lap down now. So let's see. Canas is going to have to play the long game. He played the long game at IBC, so he can do it. Let's see if these guys can give us a show right to the end.
Well, after having that 4-way battle for the first 10, 12 minutes, now for this next 10 minutes, it's a 2-way, and it's a 2-way from the people who, when you turn up at the event and you see the entry form, you kind of go, yeah, these are the guys going to be fighting it out. But we have obviously seen some good Kilich performances by both brothers. Barufalo getting used to the new WRC cars and you know, Boots' renaissance, but when you look at RC racing, when you look at 1/8 racing, nitro racing within Europe, you know, the surprise at the Euros was not that Canas won, it was that he beat Ongaro so easily. That was the surprise. If it had been Canas won and Ongaro was, you know, 4 seconds behind him, we'd have gone, yeah, that's what we expected. But it was just that little drop off in pace, that little drop off in form. The other thing that really surprised me, Lefty, was just how unbothered it seemed Ongaro was by coming third. Oh, I'm really happy, it's our new package and everything else. Yeah, but you know, it's a new package, but you know, you've limited your career as an RC champion. It'd be quite nice when you win your first European championship in 1/8 nitro, but you know, it's interesting. What you have here is a contrast in that getting any sort of emotion out of Ongaro, getting any sort of rise out of Ongaro, even not to strike a bit. He is very, very always corporate, and he's about to come under intense pressure from Canas, but Canas denied there. He's a corporate monster. He really is. He knows what he's saying every time he thinks about it. Everything's great. He's friends with everybody. Canas can't hold that image. His true fighting spirit, his true matador comes out occasionally, as we saw. I've seen it before on a number of occasions. You know, and he was obviously a bit wild in his early days. He was all the whole 50-50, and people weren't happy with his driving style. He didn't care, and he was happy to give as good as he got. And now, of course, we've seen, you know, he's happy to try and take on a guy who looks like twice his weight on the rostrum because he feels aggrieved. So you've got the real calm, calculating, uber talent of Ongaro, and then you've got the fiery temperament and the talent of Juan Carlos Canas.
Absolutely. Canas has had a few looks now and then. He is definitely faster than Ongaro on the track, but Ongaro just making that car wide. He's looking, that's one of his spots that he likes to pass right there. Canas, you saw him have a look coming off the onto that big sweeper going onto the back section. So he has multiple locations that he can overtake Ongaro. And I think right now we're just seeing that he's much more confident in his package right now. And you got to remember that for many years, Canas played second fiddle to Ongaro. And now it's Canas's time to shine. And he's done that by winning a European championship and will set his sights on winning this and probably beating Ongaro he's beat him almost in every race this year. I think the only race that he didn't beat him was in Montpellier. But just Ongaro pulling off just a little bit away on that back section, showing Canas that he can pull away when he needs to. They're coming up into some lap traffic there. I believe that's Parente or Lot, sorry. So let's see what happens. A lot. Very good, very good. Lets them by as they go around that 180. And Canas was Ongaro here earlier. Let's see if he can keep up this pace and go for that overtaking. And I think if he can get in front of Ongaro, he can get a slight gap on him, but it's getting in front of him cleanly that's going to be the problem.
Yeah, I think, and he's rolled out. He's rolled, but he got away with it. He only lost a couple of seconds. Now, there's been quite a bit of movement behind, actually, Lefty. Elliot Boots now firmly in third. He's 6 seconds back, but he's in third. Barufalo's in fourth. Ricky Burton's in fifth, and now it's Birkin and Burak Kilic together in sixth and seventh. So the Kilic bid is kind of unwound at the moment. There's plenty of time to go. There's still 39 minutes. But as we speak, it's not going to... Right, let's look at the gap. The gap is 1.8 seconds after a 43. Let's see how quickly Canals can get back onto the tail of Ongaro. But yes, so Boots now in third. So it's Esberg second and third. Barufalo with WRC is in fourth, about 2 seconds behind Boots. And then Ricardo Burton with the Infinity. And then we've got the two Mugans under the Kilic brothers back in sixth and seventh. So that's all changed behind after the early start. But the major news there is you saw the first minor mistake, just a 1.5 second mistake from Canas, which with this much time to go, he'll be able to make up in no time. But can he get close to Ongaro in just a couple of laps?
Well, we'll see. I mean, this is one of the big things that I've noticed about Ongaro this year is mistakes. He doesn't usually make them, but he's made quite a lot this year. So far in this first 21 minutes of racing, he has not made any. So let's see. That's one mistake by Canas. Will Ongaro relax a little bit? Because now Canas has to push even harder, use more of his fuel, use more of his tires to catch Ongaro up, and Ongaro can just chill out for a brief second. Ooh, and he gets it really squarely.
Same part of the track. He had a problem before, Lefty. Interesting, that last lap, he was actually 2 tenths slower again. And then he had a little bit of a tank. That tank slapper will cost him 2 or 3 tenths, not much more than that. So just one of those moments. He's having a couple or 3 laps where things aren't going his own way. Nothing's disastrous. You know, when at the end of the day, when you've had 2 or 3 laps where aren't going away, and you've lost a second and a half or 2 seconds, it's not a problem in an hour-long final. You can make it up. But it's all about now recentering. And you've got to wonder what the emotional state of Canas is at the moment. He's been obviously hyper wound up at one point earlier today and feels aggrieved and wants to prove what he can do. And it's really about how you recenter yourself. You get your mental structure back and you get back into this mindset for a balanced hour final and not driving with your emotions, not driving with your heart, but driving with your head. You can drive with your heart in the last 5 minutes, but you're just going for it, but not in these build-up phases, not in this first third, not in this first sector, not in this first stanza of an hour-long final.
Yes, and we're seeing some lap traffic, and these guys are being professional, getting out of the way, but still they have to maneuver through them. It held up Ongaro just slightly with a 40, not that much, 42.2, but Canas gained some ground with a 42 flat. But yeah, it's looking good. You'll see he's got one car in between them right now, but Canas seems to have gotten his form back and chasing down Ongaro right now. So Ongaro is now going to be forced to click off some faster laps and try to spread that gap out ever so slightly. Oh, great overtaking by Canas just now.
Yeah, Canas has had slightly the better of the traffic. That's what the world's like. Sometimes you get luck with traffic, sometimes you get a bad luck with traffic. But what I would say is, a while ago I reported that Elliot Boots was 6 seconds behind Canas. He's now 2.5 seconds behind Canas. So Boots is on an absolute chair at the moment. That time round, 42.3, 42.1, 2 tenths more gained by Canas. The gap from first to second is 1.5. The gap from second to third is 1.9.
Wow. Boots is having a great second half of 2023. It's going to help his cause going into 2024, I'm sure. And good to see Elliot back on the horse and riding again, because he was a time where I thought he was on retirement mode almost, you know, over there in Italy, enjoying the good life, working for Reds. But good to see him after a second place at the Euros. And he is absolutely flying right now. Just now when they came across, is 1.9 seconds back of Canas. Let's see when they come across the line now. As Canas comes in for fuel.
Ongaro as well. So Ongaro's fuel and Canas's fuel. I'm not sure that meant that Boots went through into the lead. Oh no, Boots fueled the previous lap. Boots fueled the previous lap. So he was 8.7 seconds behind. And they fueled on... Well, they're fueling at the same lap, so there isn't really much of an offset one way or the other. They're going to come and do the same number of spaces. Certainly Canas has gained slightly. They can see Boots in the background. He fueled a lap. Oh, got away with that one, did Ongaro, off the track. But they are now, definitely Canas now is back in the game. That error 5 minutes ago has been made up for. Well, let's see what the timing on Boots in third is going to be. The lap traffic doing its job, getting out of the way. I think they're being called out of the way quite well by the refs. I think Boots is a little bit further back. Yeah, 2 seconds rather than 1. But they are now lapping up to, I think, about 7th they've got to. Or 8th,
yeah,
sorry.
but that pit stop by Figueiredo, and I'm not sure who else is pitting Canas, really helped him out because it put him right behind Ongaro, as they came out of pits and
Yeah,
they negated that lap traffic.
Yeah, he just had a tiny bobble and lost 2 or 3 tenths.
Yeah,
and there's a kind of a situation there where this lap traffic is meaning what we're not seeing is how Boots is coming back towards these guys. And certainly the fastest person on the track at the moment, I think, is Boots. He's come back from 6 seconds to 2. I think he had the advantage. I think it's always when you hit lap traffic, the first car they see, they don't know what's going on. It's like you get a blue flag in F1. And then after that, they're much, much easier. And I think that was the advantage that Boots got. Is all of them were very used to being lapped by the time he turned up. These two not so much. The gap's now a second from first to second and 1.5 seconds from second to third. You can see Boots now in the background. There's a car in between them, himself and Canas. And then Boots looking to really... Oh, and that car's gone away. So now they are actually 1, 2 and 3 on the track. That is Boots, is the red car in third as they strip and run over the top of the track and over the waterbed. 1, 2, 3. There is the white car. There is the blue and red car. And there's the red car. It's S-Works, second and third. Ongaro in the first. But Boots has come from a long way back. And therefore already has nothing to lose. He's third place. And he's got a very solid third place. Barufalo's a long way behind him. And effectively, we've got the same top 3 as we had at the Euros, just in a different order at the moment. In the Euros,
Boots was the fastest car.
It was Canas from Boots from Ongaro. Oh, and another mistake for JCC. Another mistake for... He's got away with it almost again, but I think he's lost the place to Boots. Doesn't he? Did Boots get past him? He did.
Yep.
So Boots now in second. And this is the second time at exactly the same place that JCC has had this error. I'm trying to see what it is. He just sideways a bit too much. Both times he's got himself back on his feet, and it's only been a couple of seconds. So he's been lucky twice, but now his teammate is ahead of him, and it is Elliott Boots in second. And there is the S-Works of Boots, the Reds engine, the double European champion in 2015 and 2016, who, as you say, is an absolute resurgence. There used to be another F1 analogy, Lefty, is they always used to say that around contract time, the drivers all got faster. Well, it's contract time now for the next World Championship cycle, and Boots is knocking it out the park for form, and obviously he's also a very good development driver. But Canas now in third, and look at that, Boots is moving forward. Boots is gapping Canas with no issue whatsoever. But can he start gaining on Ongaro? 1.8 seconds it was last time round. Let's see what comes around this time. Boots a little bit oversteer, lost a couple of tenths there going through the gate. 41.4, 41.3, 41.2, all pretty much the same. But just the fastest there was Canas, who needs us to regroup after those couple of errors. The problem is, when you make an error at the same place of the track on a couple of occasions, mentally you start having a challenge about how you approach that corner at the speed you want to approach it at. So you end up losing time every time around that corner.
Yeah, you got a little bit timid around there. But now we see Canas coming up in the rear end of Boots. So Boots, but where's Ongaro? He's just out of view on the camera.
There he is, just popping through.
Ongaro's gapped him a little bit.
Yeah, 1.7 seconds ahead. What these two S-Works drivers mustn't do is fight each other. They're going to try and drag each other along. They need to. All right, they both want to win individually. They both want to become Buggyland ex-champion individually. But what they have to do is drag the result between them and get him out. Oh, and another little mistake from JCC. Another little mistake from JCC.
Boots is so fast through this midsection right here. He is able to make up so much time.
So, wearing number 5 on the side of the car, because that's where he qualified. Elliott Boots, the Anglo-Italian now, lives in Italy, wife and child, obviously part of the Reds organisation, but very much an English boy at heart. And he comes over the line, 1.8 seconds. Still, he was 9,000th of a second faster that time than Ongaro, and another slight error from Canas. He needed a 45, so Canas now is 5 seconds behind it. It's Canas who I think needs to find a mental regroup. And my point is, Lefty, I think that emotion, that blast of emotion just a couple of hours ago, it's hard to shake off. And you need such total mental concentration for an hour final like this against the best drivers in Europe this year. Well, I mean, Ron Falk's not here, but he's not been the best driver in Europe this year. So the best drivers in Europe this year are on this track. And the best drivers in Europe are as good as the best drivers in America. So let's say the best drivers in the world equal are here. And you have to be mentally prepared. But he's got half an hour. We've just covered halfway. He's got half an hour to mentally get it back, crawl back those 4 seconds, show us the one car's Canas we know we can see, or he may end up third behind the old hand Elliott Boots and the current reigning world champion Davide Ongaro.
Yes, but we see Boots is slowly chipping away at that lead that Ongaro has. But this is where Ongaro is excelling and just gapping Boots. But not this lap, so Boots is hanging on just ever so slightly, chipping away there. Ongaro was able to pull away on that back waterbed section, as you call it. I'm pretty sure when they go across, it's going to be about one. Whoa, it's going to be very close.
It's going to be closer. He's gained 6/10.
8/10 of a second.
Yeah, 6-7 tenths there. Lucky the pit exit didn't come in. Now, the thing to remember is that Boots is definitely stopping at least one lap early. I don't think that's going to result in an extra stop. But now they go, and now once again, it's Associated versus S-Works. But this time, just lost a couple of tenths. Lost a couple of tenths there. But you can afford to lose it. JCC is now dropping back. He lost another second on Boots that time around. He's not out of it, but he needs to have a real think about what he's going to do. In fact, he needs to stop thinking. He needs to start just doing what he can do so well. But Boots getting really close to Ongaro. And he comes in for fuel. Let's take Boots through for fuel. In, down, stab, fuel in. Very, very measured. Don't make a mistake exiting the pit lane. Out he comes. Does he come out in front of JCC even after that stop?
Yep.
So he's out in front of JCC now. What will happen is that we think that Ongaro should come in next lap. So Ongaro comes in next lap. This is all pretty even, Stephen. JCC will also come in next lap as well. At this point now, the lead S-Works is undisputably Elliott Boots. I don't know how JCC is going to handle that, but that's a fact, because he fell 6 seconds behind the last lap. Boots now goes through. Did Ongaro come in for fuel that time? I can't quite see everything that's going on. Yes, he did. Yep. And they're out together, and it's neck and neck as they come out of the pit lane. But just ahead has gone Ongaro, and a little bit of 2 wheels, 4 wheels, and a couple of things. Let's watch that pit exit again. There goes Boots, and he comes around, and there's Ongaro, who just manages to get the drive out of the pit lane. 1 lap later, remain in the lead. So effectively never headed so far, Ongaro. He was perhaps behind for about a yard at one point. But the thing to remember is that Canas is now effectively a pit stop behind. Boots,
Boots is able to just gain his composure so fast and get back on that.
I think he was a little bit unsettled on there. He lost a second. He was a little bit unsettled, I thought, going through there. 43.5. So definitely a second down. Good pit stop for Canas. A lap, including the pit stops, of 46.8. That's really thrown him back in contention again. He's gained 2 seconds on everybody with that stop. He didn't have basically, because both Ongaro and Boots lost time with Ongaro coming out with Boots effectively. What that did was it slowed both of them down, and that's great news for Canas, because that's what he needs. He needs that little fillip, a little boost to think, I can catch up. Now, what's happened now is Ongaro's had a good couple of laps, certainly in comparison to Boots. He needs to get his brain back in again, Boots, because he's got the ground speed to catch up Ongaro. Last time round it's 0.8. It's going to be a bit more than 0.8 this time, but most of that was lost in the first part of the track. Yep, it's the second. So with a 41.8. Be interesting to see what Canas comes over. 41.4. Yeah, another 4/10 gain. So this is good news for Canas. He's beginning to just squeeze that gap down. He'll be able to see visually he's getting close. He's got a bit of traffic between, but that won't matter. So Ongaro now is just being... Ongaro's very good in that little section there, isn't he? He pulls away every time coming out that flat section, coming off the switchback.
Yes, and he's able to pull away here as well. This is where he's shining, but Boots is able... Oh, Boots gets it wrong. Oh,
he got away with that
Boots
one.
Is going to go down.
He got away with that one big style. I don't think he even lost any time there, but he was about to have a major accident. And in fact, as he swept round that corner there, he gained a lot of time again. So these two cars are being slightly quicker at different points. That's an obvious gain for Boots for that lap of half a second. Now, the plus point that might be, if Ongaro starts running at Ongaro pace and Boots has to run at Ongaro pace, Canas might begin to catch up. Canas was the same speed as Boots that time round. So and there's a change to the lead. We have a change for the lead.
Pass.
Ongaro goes slightly wide, and Elliott Boots is now scored in the lead for the first time. In fact, the first time, he isn't scored. It crosses the line, but the first time anyone's been scored in the lead, apart from Ongaro in this entire race. Now, can Boots now gap Ongaro is the question, because now we're going to see Ongaro really pushing on. But we are 35 minutes in. Is this where the tyre wears come in, or is it just complete coincidence? Boots now in the lead. He has to be the chaser. Now he's the chased. And this is how it happened. Just a little bit wide there. You can see the inner right wheel scrabbling for grip. Couldn't pull it in and understeered Ryan. Boots didn't need a longer invitation than that. And he's now leading the race. But it is very, very close. One Carlos Canas, by the way. Yeah, Canas is only 4 seconds behind Boots, not 4 seconds behind Ongaro, 4 seconds behind Boots. So certainly don't count him out with 25 minutes and 15 seconds still to go. Now, what Boots needs to do, which he's not doing, is show that pace that he used to catch up Ongaro to start gapping him. Because Ongaro is absolutely on the tail. 41.9, 41.4, 41.3. Fastest man of those top three is Canas. So this is going to become a triumvirate very soon. Canas has had that fallow period. He's had that wobble. He's had that issues. And now the advantage is with these two having a squabble with themselves, they're slowing themselves down, and Canas will be able to catch them. It might take another 5 or 6 minutes. But with 20 minutes to go, I think we're going to have 3 cars nose to tail.
Yes, Ongaro is, you're going to see him gain up on Elliott right now in this part of the track. But Elliott trying to pull away from him.
And the first mistake from Ongaro. It's the first mistake from Ongaro. He gets going himself, but he gets going in third. He's just got it slightly wrong there, and it's the first thing he's done wrong. Kind of a major error. But luckily, he did get on his wheels and got rolling again without being marshalled. But he's now in third place. So it's S-Works 1, S-Works 2. And it is Ongaro in 3. And there we have Canas and Ongaro in second and third on camera. So don't forget that Boots has interestingly, I think that Canas actually had to kind of brake to avoid some issues there. I think he was trying to not get involved, and he lost a couple of tenths. But now Ongaro is going to have to try and do something to get close to Canas. And it seems like Canas, now he's free, has got a chance to do it.
That's really a lot of breathing room for Boots right now.
It's the pressure, exactly. You're completely right there, Left. The pressure's gone off Boots. Canas makes an irritating mistake that's going to cost him 2 or 3 tenths. And he was about 4 tenths slower than Boots that time round. Ongaro, 1 error in 36 minutes, which isn't bad. I'd make 36 errors in 1 minute. But now he has to try and catch Canas back up again. Oh, and Canas has made another mistake. Got away with it, though. Lost time, but got away with it.
I was just about to say that Canas has gained his confidence in the place where he made those 2 mistakes, and he makes a mistake in a different spot. But this is boding well for Elliott. He's just out there now, and that gap is now 5.1 seconds back between second, and 4 tenths of a second between these two right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think what's happened now is Canas, who when he was running in free air, was running with a free mind as well, and now he's having to start thinking about what's behind him instead of just what's ahead of him. This is a good lap. This is a good lap for Canas. He's really found some pace here. Look at that. He's miles away ahead of Ongaro in this one lap. That 4 tenths is already a 1.3. So Canas absolutely flying. Now, is this a case where Ongaro has just lost a bit of pace? Or is it that Canas is flying?
Oh, wow.
Oh, that's Boots. That was Boots. Boots made a mistake. Now they're together again. Boots has made a mistake, and Boots has been tipped over by... Whoa, it's all changed around now. Canas is now your leader. Didn't quite get the whole of that because that was just a really...
No, that's
So Boots made a mistake. Got caught up by Canas. Got the end of this one, but I don't think we got the whole of it. This is where it rolled there. So then, unfortunately, what happened then was that Ongaro tipped Boots. Then he waited. And so Canas, who was living in a mire of despair, now finds himself in the lead, and by several seconds. As Boots made a mistake, we didn't see it. And in fact, the Boots' car looks a bit odd. I'm not sure if Boots has got a problem with his car. I'm not sure if Boots has got an issue with his car. The rear left doesn't look right.
Yep.
I might be wrong, but the rear left doesn't look correct at the moment. Visually, could just be an optical illusion. But what has happened is, suddenly, the racing gods have said, you've had a bad day so far, Juan Carlos. Let's give you a bit of a bonus.
Oh, yeah, it's broken. Broken.
Yep.
He's out.
Oh, Boots is out. Car is broken.
Looks like it. Yep,
it looked wrong. They're going to fuel it, and they're going to try and do what they can do, but they've got a link or something that's come out in that accident we didn't see. I think it was a rear link. You could say there's something wrong with the rear left of the car. And after a glory period of 10 minutes where we thought that Elliott Boots was going to win this race, we now have a situation where we don't think that's going to happen. Ongaro is 5 seconds nearly behind Canas. Okay, let's go and find our leaders again. That's unfortunately the end of...
No, they're coming in. Ongaro's coming in for fuel. Maro's getting ready for fuel.
They're coming in for fuel apparently. Let's see if you say Maro's coming for fuel. And there we are. Great spot there, lefty. And there is Ongaro. But Ongaro now needs to try and catch up Canas. And that is not something, I'll be honest with you, I think is in the remit of his package at the moment. Now, Canas can make mistakes and bring him back to Ongaro, but desperate bad luck for Boots. Something happened in the car. Either it broke and that's what caused the problem originally, or he made a mistake and broke it. But bad luck for Boots. He'll probably get out and carry on doing some laps out there, but fairy tale not to be. But there's another fairy tale now on the podium. It's Marco Barufalo. Barufalo has hit third place. So Canasco across the line, 3.7 seconds behind. And they both took fuel last time, 47 against 46.9, so a whole tenth of a second gained by the Ongaro fuel team. Boost.
Well, what you're seeing here is also that Canas is able to put his car anywhere he wants and keep it on the inside line, and I'm watching Ongaro going very wide, and that's causing him time and confidence, I would say, as we have 19 minutes and 28 seconds. I think this is where you're starting to see the tire degradation come into play. And yes, unfortunate for Elliott. We thought it was an illusion, but he must have damaged his car in an off-camera crash.
Yeah, but watching the car, you could see that the rear left didn't seem right. You know, one of the things I do a lot of in both full-scale motorsport and scale motorsport is you actually get a feeling when a car's not correct. You can see something slightly wrong with it. Boots back out again, by the way, in 10th, so he's going to try and get a few more laps. But desperate bad luck. But he's certainly proved something to himself by his pace. He's not going to get a big plaque. He's not going to say it was a Buggyland 10 winner, but you can see how quick he was. Be interested to know whether it broke and then he crashed, or whether it crashed and then he broke. Now Ongaro, I think it's Pecco. Good move by Pecco to move out of the way. Last time round, a tenth of a second was gained by Canas, but they're still only 3.8 seconds behind. But once again, so you know the Killick's now in 4th and 5th. That's Burak and Birkin in that order. 4th and 5th. Ricky Burton is in 6th. Rob Battles in 7th, and Danny Parente is in 8th. Savoy 9th, and Boots in 10th. I bet Boots up to 11th now, so things not going well for Elliott. That time round, it was a 3/10 gain for this man here, your reigning double world champion, and that was he looked lovely on the bottom of the circuit there, didn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he's too wide, Oh, he got away with that one. Wow. He was dicing with absolute disappearing round the back of the whole circuit. Death there, and he dies too much, and he got away with it twice now. But he's cost himself at least a second, if not a second and a half.
Yeah,
and he can't afford a second and a second half. There we go. 3 seconds, 6.4 at this point now. I know we've got 17 minutes to go, but this is now completely in the remit of Juan Carlos Canas, who has got this lead. And Ongaro just has to push so hard that what can he do? And that was a big loss in that track. He had 2 little errors and that turned into a big error, and that was 3 seconds.
Yeah, this is kind of what I saw at IBC, and also what I watched, the little that I was able to see at the Euros through you guys' coverage, is that he's making these small little mistakes. And we haven't seen that in years previously. So
well, he's at 112%, isn't he? That's why. You know,
yeah.
Ongaro has been fabulous at running at 99.999% and not doing that. And now, you know, making up. We were speculating. We don't know there's a package deficiency, but it's pretty much. We think that the Matrix tyres in the beginning of their development are not going to be likely to be quite as good as the other manufacturers' tyres who've got many years of development. It's just how it is. And certainly at the Euros, it was kind of like we came third, we did really well, we're developing our package. Almost like, that was a learning experience. We're a month further on, they've done more developing. If it finishes much like this, they'll be closer to Canas than they were at the Euros. They'll be looking at lap speeds, they're looking at wear, and they're thinking, right, we've made another movement forward, because the ultimate thing is they'll have something that's unbeatable, or at least as good as the rest, when we get to Sao Paulo next September.
But that's Canas right in front of him.
Yeah, Canas, I think, has Canas made a mistake or had another fuel stop? Canas did a 46.0 then. Now, they're right together, very good spot, Lefty. So therefore, Canas with a long lap. Weirdly, I think that's too short for a pit stop, so I think he has made a mistake. So throwing it back all open again and giving something for Ongaro to chase. That's your first 2. You can't ask for anything. So this has been a 45-minute race, by the way. This would be the last lap. So this will be the last lap. Mm-hmm. You have them this close together, 45-minute final. There's another 15 minutes of fun to come here. So Canas, one of the things about being a TV show is you can't show every single car on every single lap. and it's Canas who's made the mistake, we believe, because he certainly wasn't anywhere where you would think you would have fuel. I mean, there's a possibility if he has to make an extra stop, he decided to make it then, but that'd be very interesting tactics.
But he's still able to pull off a slight gap on Ongaro, and that's where we can see Ongaro cannot make up for those mistakes that he's making. You see Canas able to look, see how wide he's going just now?
Yeah.
That's tires. That is tires.
So Canas did a 41 flat, Ongaro 42.2. So yeah, so lost a bit. Wasn't a good lap for Ongaro. It was a good lap for Canas. He's probably, skirting himself along after, asking himself, why on earth did I make that mistake 2 laps ago? Buffalo's still in third. He's 7 seconds back from these, so he's not out of it if something happens, and the Kilic is within a second of each other. It's one of those things really where, there's other things going on the track, but the only thing that really matters is the winners and the seconds and the third. WRC, I'm sure, would love to see Buffalo get some track time, but the fact is that when you have this first and the second on the same frame with 15 minutes to go, that's what you're going to do. There is Canas just ahead of the blue car. I'm not quite sure who he's ahead of.
Baldo.
Is that a Baldo, is it?
Yeah, it's Oscar Baldo.
I don't think that's Oscar Baldo. It might be. It's one of the irritations. Where's Ongaro? Does Ongaro take fuel then? Ongaro isn't 2 seconds behind.
There he is. I just saw him whizzing by.
I know with Ongaro. I think Ongaro may have taken fuel. And there he is. This is a slight problem, but I think Ongaro took fuel, which makes me wonder whether Canas took fuel. They seem to be slightly out of phase with each other, knowing they have to make an extra stop at some point. At this point, Ongaro can get to the end with one more stop. If that was a fuel stop. I'm thinking that might not be an error we saw from Canas a while ago. It might be one of these extra fuel. They all knew they needed a splash, running on not quite 820, and they were taking it at various tactical points.
Canas has made another mistake.
Or is that Canas right again now, taking fuel? Yeah, I mean, this is, I think perhaps no. Yeah, I think they are now both on their one stop to go. So Canas, I think. All right, I'm going to correct myself there. That first 46-second lap, that was a mistake by Canas. This second one now is his fuel stop. So they are now on the same. They'd be on the same fuel strategy the rest of the race. Why wouldn't they be now? This is the true distance between first and second after 46, 47 minutes of an hour-long final, which is going to be encouraging for Ongaro. Obviously, he wants to win. But it's going to be encouraging for Ongaro, mainly because it means that they have made definite progress since the Euros in their package. But as I keep saying, your career is quite short. Do you want to spend a number of years developing something, or do you want to win stuff?
Leave the developing for the veterans.
Yeah. Beautiful.
But Canas is still able to just pull away. That's the issue, right? Look at Canas. He makes those mistakes. He does the fuel stop, and look, he's able to pull a gap on
definitely
Ongaro,
at this
Ongaro
point,
just isn't able to
you're absolutely
capitalize
right,
on it.
Lefty. At this point in the race, the basic faster car running a 41 flat against a 41.2, I think 3/10 of a second, but the faster car, it's not Canas, is it? Is that Canas upside down? Was that a back marker? Is that Canas?
No, that was
that's Canas.
It is Canas.
Canas upside down. So the leader's changed again. Canas rolled at the end of the straight. I mean, Canas is not. This is. I'm going to say this right now. This is not Canas. If Canas wins, and I have nothing against him winning, this is not his best performance. And I think I know why it's not his best performance. But he's felt like the fastest person in the race the entirety of the event. But I think his emotions get the better of him, and suddenly Ongaro is back in the lead again. Canas making a mistake. We'll show you where. Made the mistake here. He must have taken it too tight and rolled. Ongaro goes past him and now has a lead of 2.5 seconds. But I can't help feeling that 2.5 seconds will be eaten into if Canas can get his head down in a matter of moments. Drop back to Canas. It's always more interesting to show the chaser than the leader, which doesn't always work sometimes because the leader makes a mistake sometimes. But it's always, I think, the chaser who's absolutely going for it. Canas down the ripple, and he's going to turn around up towards the flat-out section of the waterbed. But now the interesting thing is we're now 11 minutes to go, Lefty. So now they're no longer counting up; they're now counting down. There's one stop to go. There's 11 minutes to go. These cars are tired as far as their tyres are concerned, and Canas that time round was 3/10 faster.
Yeah, he has time. He's able to pull off this. He's just able to catch him up. So Ongaro can't push like Canas at the moment. But with that said, Canas is going to have to push even harder now to catch him up, which is gonna put more wear and tear on his equipment. So it's going to be close. I think we're going to have a barn burner right to the end. We have 10 minutes and 19 seconds left to go, and one more pit stop. So let's see if Canas can put his head down.
Now, in the minor placing, Burak Kilic now is up to third. Buffalo's been overtaken. Burak Kilic 11 seconds behind these two. And up to third has gone Burak with Marco Brutto fourth, Ricardo Burton fifth, and Birkin Kilic in sixth. That time round, it's a 4/10 game for Ongaro that time. Mm-hmm. So, and that's good work from Jordan Lott there. Just put the brakes on, not when you get in the way. There is a car between Ongaro and this man, Canas. Not quite sure. Is that blue and white car? That other blue car we keep getting confused about. Who is that?
Where is Ongaro?
No, Ongaro. It's not Ongaro. Ongaro's white.
No, I said, where is
there
Ongaro?
He is.
No, there
he's pulling away. Ongaro's pulling away. At the moment, Ongaro is pulling away. But as we know, it's 9 minutes to go. Anything can happen. With 9 minutes to go of the World Championship, it looked very much like Ron felt was going to win because he was coming at a rate of knots towards Ongaro, and then it all unwound in the last 5 minutes, didn't it? So you never can. Great thing about it is you never know in these finals. You just never, ever, ever know. Lead out to 3.5. 7/10 gain by Ongaro. 41-1 last time. 41-8 for this man, Juan Carlos Canas. Is Ongaro going to claim his first big victory since February when he won at Montpellier with the Buggyland X? And this is the biggest event for European races by entry outside of the Euros. Lots of shouting going on and waving.
I think Ongaro has pulled off to an even bigger lead now.
Ongaro has done his fastest lap. He's done his fastest lap of the entire event, a 40.9 against a 40.7. Ongaro, contrary to everything you were saying, well, no, I'm not saying I was disagreeing with you, has just suddenly found another level of pace. You know,
got a second win.
Well, perhaps the fact is that perhaps it has now. Tyres have worn down, but they've worn down in such an even way that they're giving him a nice balance. Because the problem is when your tyres wear, you get the car unbalanced. It starts oversteering, understeering. Well, if it's just now driving nicely and just has a little bit less grip, but the track's obviously is getting better as the main heat of the day is coming off. Perhaps this is now when the car really is working. It's gone out of balance slightly. Now it's back in balance again. But this is going to be a major fillip for Matrix if they can win this one. It's going to put to bed some of the rumours about some of the whisperings about what they've achieved. Canas with what they said, look, 2 corners ahead now. Gain that time was 0.1. 7 minutes to go. Let's move forward to Ongaro. Because it's now Ongaro with this extra pace.
Oh, wow.
He will be making his last stop in the next couple of laps. And it really is down to Ongaro, I think, to make a mistake. Now, I don't think within the remaining 8 laps that on sheer ground speed, Canas can catch up. Getting close to fuel time. Yep, thought so. Last stop. Last major sense of urgency. Will the engine stall? No, it doesn't. They're up and away. I think Canas came in as well at that time. Oh, a bit wide. And there's Canas taking the lead. So Canas now leads on fuel stops. So they are right together. No, Ongaro doesn't need to stop again. So he's effectively 1 fuel stop ahead with 6 minutes to go. 6 minutes and just under 7 minutes to go, actually. And he knows more than anybody. He does not need to try anything at this point because in the next lap or the next 2 laps, Juan Carlos Canas is going to peel into the pit stops, and we'll take Canas's pit stop when he does come in, Ash, just to make sure it all goes smoothly. And he's going to come through, and is it this time? Yes, it is. 1 lap later, so they're now on the same strategy. Canas comes right down to this end. Fueled in. It didn't go in first time. Slipped out the tank, a couple of tenths lost there. When you see those 2-second stops, those 2.5 seconds on F1, you can see those minor errors cost you a couple of tenths. 46.975 was the the lap. Remember 46.975? That was the fuel fill lap time for Ongaro.
As we saw in the chat earlier, it's very hard, almost impossible to beat Ongaro in these 1 hour long races. And we're seeing this extra 15 minutes playing into the cards for him perfectly. And I think it's a losing battle at this now with 5 minutes and 52 seconds. He needs Ongaro to make some mistakes. Yeah,
we always used to say the longer the final, the more likely it was for Robert Battle to win. Battle was a master of the hour-long final. Ongaro proving to be a bit of a master of this one that time around. He gained 2 or 3 tenths on Canas in that last one. Let's move forward to Ongaro again, because it's only Ongaro's mistakes that are going to stop him winning. There he is. 5 minutes to go. 5 minutes to close out a dramatic and in some ways unexpected win. He's been first, he's been second, he's been third. We thought he was dead and buried with 20 minutes to go, didn't we, Lefty? But now, never count out David Ongaro, never count out the man who I believe is the best 1/8 RC racer in the world, whatever the top 25 listings may say, because this is where he's showing why he is the best in the world, because he's not got I don't think he's got the best package, but he's got the best package when you add in his brain.
Yeah, we was looking at his tires early, and it looked like he was struggling. He was struggling for some time, but I guess, like you said, things evened out. He probably just put his head down, and he is clicking off some fast laps. His last lap was a 41.4, even though Juan Carlos Canas threw on a 41.3. So, but it's 4 minutes and 33 seconds left to go, and Canas has just lost touch with him. As we see Ongaro coming across the line, a 41.2 for Ongaro. Wow.
We're saying 41.2, the fastest lap of the race is a 40.9, just so you know. It was a 41.1 in fairness for Juan Carlos. The only problem is he's gained 1/10 of a second. He's 5.7 behind. It'll take him 57 laps to get past him. But, you know, that's not the maths that counts here. It's about not making a mistake. It's about Ongaro running 5 or 6 clean laps, and he will come home as the Buggyland ex-champion, the champion for 2023, and I think banish a few demons from the season. It's always great to win what will be his last big race of the year. He's not doing the AMS race as Canas is doing. There they go. Burak Kilic, very quiet. Kilic is in third, and I don't think we've shown him for 1 second. He wasn't in that initial train of 5 cars. He wasn't involved when Boots briefly, but rather tantalisingly held the lead. 41 flat that time round for Ongaro, within 1/10 of a second of his fastest lap. But Kilic is going to come in third. He's got 2.5 seconds in Peripheral. Obviously a little error there, and Peripheral could get through. But barring now a complete and utter disaster, your double world champion is going to add Buggyland X to his CV. And he's going to do it against the best in Europe. And he's going to do it.
That'll be a good victory for him as well. Good victory for Matrix going into 2024. Going into the negotiation tables, I would say, as well, because I believe all these guys are at the negotiation table.
I think when he sticks his...
going into 2024.
I think when he sticks his request into associated with an extra 0 at the end of it, they're going to have a bit of a problem kind of ignoring it. But Ongaro, got a bit of traffic ahead of him. I think he probably would quite like at this point that traffic to move out for him. Still going 2/10 a second on Juan Carlos' last lap round. 2 minutes and 34 seconds to go. Is that Boots ahead? No, it's not. That's actually Birkin Kilic, so there's no problem with the Kilic brother A. Birkin, who's running in 6th, has been lapped and comes in for fuel as well, actually. Ongaro now. Is he going for fuel? Oh, that doesn't matter one way or the other. And then ahead of him, that is the Infinity of Ricky Burton, who's running in 5th, so he's going to lap up to 5th. Not really pushing it. Last time round, gained a 10th again on Juan Carlos Canas. And those extra 15 minutes really have been the playground of David Ongaro. Got away with that one. Just slightly too far to the left. Gathered a little bit of barrier. 2 wheels up. If he actually slapped in the barrier, that could have been all that mattered. Ifs and buts and maybes, and out the way gets Ricardo. So Ricky Burton rolls out the way. I think may have lost the position to Birkin Kilic there, actually. So Burton may drop down to 6th and Kilic pick up 5th. Those are minor placings at this event. Another lap in the books. 42.0 there as he was going past people. 7/10 of a second gain for Canas, but it's really not the point now because they are within 1 minute and 29 seconds. It'll be this one and 2 more to crown the Buggyland ex-champion of 2023. And what a great performance, Lefty.
Yeah, absolutely. He overcome some adversity early out. Well, he led early out and he looked good. Didn't look as fast as everybody. Had a few crashes. You know, I think when Juan Carlos looks back on this race, he can go and see where he lost this. That big crash there that we saw that cost him 46 seconds. And in the end, JCC put in all the work to do well, but those crashes cost him, and Ongaro's tires were better at the end here as we see him clicking off some of his fastest consistent laps. So well done. Like Chet said, he said it's very hard to beat Ongaro in 1 hour. We want to thank Lion-O, Chet, for the $4.99 super chat.
Thank you very much. Yeah, we'll have a look at what people have been saying during the race, but the race has been way too interesting really to talk to you guys. We're sorry because it's just been happening. We have won another really cracking hour's race. 40 minutes of intense competition, then 20 minutes of will they, won't they, followed by 5 minutes of my gosh, he's going to do it. And this is what happens. He's going to come round and he's going to start his final lap. Davide Ongaro, not the favourite coming in here, not the favourite even start in the race, and not the favourite at 3 or 4 points within the race. But he goes across the line 4 seconds ahead of Juan Carlos Canas, who actually has managed to close it down very slightly, but not enough. Ongaro now just has to get round this lower section. Time is over, and Marco Broffa is scored as 4th. He has to go up the hill one more time, over the waterboard one more time. He's going to turn left. He's got the big double there. As you can see, he's really cutting it down, slowing it down. You'll see Canas in the background, just about there. He's got to get through the gate section. He's got to turn left. He's got to go across the time, and he wins Buggyland X. Fantastic. He even crashes into the thing to prove he could do it. Buggyland X has been won by Davide Ongaro. I'm going to go and talk to people, Lefty. What a fantastic, fantastic result for Davide Ongaro. He's done a great job indeed. In 3rd place, it was Berkan Kilic. Let's see if we can just gather Juan Carlos and Davide. Guys, if you could just follow me to the camera. Fantastic performance by both of you. Congratulations. Very unlucky, Elliot. So let's this way, guys, please. And Davide, thank you. Burak, this way, please. Let's have a chat with our top 3 finishing drivers, and we'll start with Burak, who come through here. Well, I have to be honest with you, Burak. You came 3rd, and we didn't cover you once during the race. You had a stealth procession through to the podium.
Oh, it was hard. I was at the start, I was last, and now I'm happy that I'm on the podium. Because, I mean, the speed was there, but, I'm happy.
So basically what you're saying is really it was your starting position which dictated your race?
I think yes. Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
So how do you feel overall your Buggyland X has gone?
I think Buggyland is always a nice race, and, I had a lot of fun, except the buggy was not that well, but, I have to accept it.
Great stuff. Thank you, Berkan. Juan Carlos? Well, at some points we thought you were going to win. Some points we thought you were going to come nowhere. 20 minutes to go, you were in the lead. Tell us the story of your race.
Yeah, I think good race in general. Davide, me and Elliot at the fair was super fast. Everyone, also Marco. But I talked before with Davide. Track was a strange grip, so. After 30-40 minutes, our head is finished. I think all heads are finished because it's super difficult to drive in 41 with this condition now. But yeah, finally is good final, I think.
Did you feel completely relaxed starting the race? After the problems you had in e-buggy, were you completely mentally relaxed, or was it still in the back of your head a bit?
No, I completely relaxed, yes. Final was... I don't have more for put on the track today.
Great stuff. Thank you, Juan Carlos. Ah, well. Never bet against Davide Ongaro. Davide, we were watching you, and you led that first section. Elliot got past. Elliot had a problem, and then Juan Carlos got past. And with 20 minutes to go, he started gapping, and you thought, that's it. He's going to win. Did you think he was going to win?
I mean, Elliot was crazy fast. From the half main, he was super fast. I think he was like 5th and then come 4th, 3rd, and then he catch me. And then I had a small bubble. He overtook me, so he was really fast, but maybe unlucky at the end. But yeah, when I did the mistake, I told my dad, okay, now we have to catch up Elliot and see what we can do. And then I finished first, and everything was good. Yeah.
Let's be honest. Let's not beat around the bush. There's been a lot of talk about you, Matrix tyres, and everything else. You've just won an A final over an hour with the best European contingent outside of the Euros. Does that prove everyone wrong?
I mean, at the Euro was completely different. It was 45 minutes. Juan Carlo was fast. He was fast also here. But I think every race now is like a main final of the Euro. So, I mean, I'm super happy. We have to work for sure. It's the first 7 months with new tires, so we are on the right way, I think. And yeah, I'm super excited and happy, yeah.
Over an hour-long final. Can you give us an idea of how you're thinking during the final? We're watching the final. We're seeing you going forward, coming back, the other cars ebbing and flowing. First of all, how much do you know about what other cars were doing? Did you know Elliott was coming? Or are you literally just looking at that white car with the yellow wing?
No, I saw Elliott. He was coming. Yeah, it was crazy fast, like I said before. But we were like 15 or 16 drivers in the main. I think it's maybe too much for this track. And I think it was harder than the main of the world. I mean, the track is amazing, but a lot of jumps, fast sections, 90 degrees corners, so it's really, really hard, yeah.
Well, I think it's your last major race of the year, so congratulations. You leave the year on a winning form and, of course, go into next year, which is very important.
Yeah, it's RCTV, so it's Elliott's home track, so yeah, we will see there for sure, yeah.
Hang on, also congratulations on being world champion in, I forgot to say it, another 3 world championships.
I still can't believe it. I'm super happy. I mean, 4-wheel drive was amazing to drive. Also, 2-wheel drive, we were a bit unlucky. But I mean, my goal was to make both A main without practice and nothing. So I won the title and main final in the 2-wheel drive, so it's okay. Yeah.
Never practice again. Thanks, David. Congratulations, well done.
Thank you. Bye.